welcome to Maxim Foods Inside Track. Only 19 more sleeps till Christmas, a very busy period of the year, and another interesting fortnight in dairy. Let's have a look at the commodities. Having a look at whole milk powder now, a very flat result last night. The NZX and the futures market did expect it to rise a little, however it did remain relatively flat. So things are reasonably balanced. Southeast Asia, who have been the biggest buyers for the last few auctions, came back to the fold a bit, and North Asia were up a little. But demand's still reasonably soft, and obviously in the season, in the middle of New Zealand season at the moment, supply is high. So yeah, a reasonably positive result in what has been quite bearish times in the last sort of month or two. So demand's still there, but not as bullish as the processors and farmers would like. And I think for the next short to medium term, we should see a reasonably flat outlook on whole milk. The one factor, obviously, we do see or hear of restrictions easing in China, so that demand out of China, still the big unknown. If they were to come back into the market, then we would see prices rise. Having a look at skim milk powder, global markets are seeing good value in skim at the moment, so are buying up. We do see flat pricing over the last 2 to 3 weeks across both the EU, the US and Australia and New Zealand. So it probably means that after a weakening in demand and weakening in price over the last 3 to 4 months, people are seeing value in it at the moment and jumping in and buying. We still see a relatively bearish outlook on skim, but once again dependent on North Asia as to when or if they're coming back into the market into the new year. But as it stands, reasonably balanced. Having a look at butterfat. So in the US, butterfat is quite tight in supply, so pricing holding up for US butter. A lot of that milk, although increasing in the US, is diverted to cheese and whey derivatives. So we see a lack of supply or shortening of supply in the US market, so pricing remaining high. In the EU, different story. We've got supply is reasonable and therefore putting pressure on pricing. Demand reasonably weak, but holding up okay in the holiday season. But pricing has definitely come back in the last month in EU butter. Not to the level of New Zealand and Australian pricing as yet, but it definitely is trending down. In the New Zealand still remains the cheapest butterfat globally, and demand is holding up. Interesting to note that the AMF butter value per fat percentage has finally shifted to AMF being the greater return. So that has been inverted for the last 6 to 8 months. So yeah, that's been an interesting thing over the last fortnight. Having a look at cheese, much like butter, in the EU we do see a softening in pricing. Supply is reasonably good. Demand is waning a little bit based on higher pricing in the retail market in UK and EU in their domestic markets. So pricing high, burning off a bit of demand. In the US, production is quite healthy, so we're seeing some good supply and demand holding up. But you know, the US are looking at export markets to push that surplus of supply. So pricing reasonably bearish in the US side of things. In the Australia and New Zealand, because of milk being down, especially in Australia, supply is reasonably tight of cheddar. So yeah, pricing remains high and reasonably hard to get as well. For the short to medium term outlook, those dynamics look to remain the same. EU easing, US plateauing, and Australia and New Zealand hard to find and reasonably firm in price. Finishing off with whey powder. So whey powder, the sweet whey side of things, demand and supply reasonably balanced. Pricing has been quite flat for some time now. On the protein side of things, we are seeing weakening in WPC and WPI. Higher cheese production out of the US, meaning higher whey production. So the protein side of things look relatively bearish. No real direction in the market at the moment, up or down across all the commodities. Things seem reasonably balanced. Demand, the big question mark is out of North Asia. You know, when will China come back into the market and when restrictions ease, etc. So that is a big telling tale and will shift the dynamics of the market quite rapidly. So like I said, only 19 days till Christmas. Stressful times and busy times, but be safe and be kind to one another. There'll be a lot of Michael Bublé and Mariah Carey played in the office here, so I'll try and keep my patience until the 25th, and hopefully I'll get through it. We'll see you again in a fortnight. Look after yourself.